Since 2004, Iowa livestock farmers have turned to the coalition to support Iowa's farmers for free, confidential, and expert assistance in raising livestock responsibly and successfully. Join us at the Fenceline to hear from industry experts and farmers about topics important to livestock agriculture here in Iowa. The Fenceline, where the gates always open. Welcome to the Fenceline. My name is Bob Quinn. Today we are talking about one of the Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award winners we had the opportunity to visit with. The Fenceline, by the way, is a presentation of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. They are also the presenting sponsor of the Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award. Iowa Secretary of Agriculture Mike Naig was present to present the award. The Swenka family, Steve and Amy Swenka of G Angus Farms near Tiffin, Iowa. G Angus has been around for over 65 years. The family farm it's sitting on, though, is a century farm here in the state of Iowa. Steve and Amy operate the farm alongside their son Will and daughter-in-law Jessica, representing the fifth generation of that family farm. Now, Steve and Amy's oldest son is Jake Swenka, and he is serving as a naval aviator in the U.S. Navy. We're going to talk to him today as well. It's a corn, soybean, oat, and hay operation. Primary focus is on the purebred Angus seed stock business. We'll start off visiting with Steve and Amy. Steve, tell me a little bit about your farming operation. G Angus.
G Angus, yes, it started by my father and my grandfather. The G was because they were both named George.
I was going to ask you, I don't see the connection there with the G's yet, but
as
George
time
and George
moved on,
Angus.
It's a little hard to connect the dots, but yeah, George and George started back in about 1963, and when my dad graduated from high school, they bought their first set of Angus heifers, got into the purebred Angus business, and been selling breeding stock ever since. So
tell me a little bit about the breeding stock side as opposed to your commercial cattle.
So we sell breeding bulls and replacement heifers. So
okay.
we calve them out here on the farm, develop the bulls till they're about 14, 15 months old, and then deliver them to the producers at that time.
Got your calving season scheduled out?
We do, yeah. A lot revolves around that schedule.
I'll bet it does. Well, now, the notes say here that you're on a century farm.
We are, yeah. This farm became a century farm back in 2012. My great-grandfather actually first purchased this in, obviously, 1912. And so we've added to it, obviously, but yeah, ever since then, so a little over 100 years.
We're sitting inside a big round-topped barn right now. What's the history on this barn?
So my grandfather built this barn in 1948. It's a round roof barn, arched rafters. Was kind of some unique architecture back in the day. The idea was that there wasn't the framework, there wasn't the roof trusses and so forth, and so the idea was more open space to hold more hay. So it's been told to me, I can't verify this, but it's been told to me that 8,000 bales will fit where we're sitting right now.
I'll tell you what, I get in the hayloft anymore, and I get kind of the shakes because that's where I spent a good part of my youth on the farm.
It's normally never cool in a hayloft, is it?
Nice day out today, I'll have
Beautiful
to say.
Day, yeah.
Had some rain last night.
And the much-needed rain. We got about 6/10.
So you did need some rain then?
Very badly, very badly. We rotate our pastures pretty religiously. We normally don't rotate the first section off until 20th of June, maybe the 4th of July. Well, this year we rotated in May, and where we rotated off of really hasn't done much since we pulled the cows off, and so it's kind of sitting, needing some rain, and hopefully what we got today will make a big difference.
Well, you guys could use a squirt of water then.
We definitely
I
could,
guess.
yeah.
I'm going to talk to Amy here for just a second. Amy, tell me about the farm operation. What do you think?
We are very busy.
I'd imagine
going every which way, every day. We never know what we're going to do day to day. We plan it in the morning.
Well, that's kind of the way we operated our place, too. I didn't know other people did that as well. So tell me about your family.
We have two sons, one that is a lieutenant in the Navy, flies helicopters, and then we have a son that farms with us as well. And then we have one granddaughter and a set of triplet grandsons.
Triplet grandsons?
Yep, triplet grandsons.
Son of a gun. And where do they go to school?
So they're 9 months old, 10 months old, all of them.
They're not quite in school yet.
Not quite yet.
Yeah. What school district are we in here?
We are in Clear Creek, Amana.
Oh, okay, Clear Creek, Amana.
Yep.
So how far from Tiffin are you?
We are 2 miles from Tiffin.
From Tiffin out there. And, again, Century Farm. It's been
Yes.
around, at least in this family, for 100 years.
Yes.
So talk with Steve again, because you were talking about grazing ground. Have you made any hay yet?
We have. We're about half done. We have right around 200 acres of hay, and we're approximately halfway through it as we speak.
Well, have you got any on the ground?
We do not. We do not.
Well.
We were steering around this event.
I was going to say, usually if you want to bring rain out of the sky, you got some hay. And
or plan an event.
Or plan an event, yeah. It's usually graduation time, things like that, and you got the hay crop, or it's usually about 95 degrees.
There you go, and high humidity.
Yeah. Well, we're certainly happy to be here today. We are sharing with the Swenka family, Double G Angus, our Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award winners number 209 today. And we are going to continue talking with the Swenka family, learn more about their operation. Reminder, though, the Fenceline is a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. They're the livestock folks here in the state of Iowa. If you have questions about livestock or livestock operations or any aspect about livestock here in Iowa, they have the answers. You can find out more about their programs at supportfarmers.com. Again, supportfarmers.com. Well, let's get back to the Swenka operation. We are talking with the Swenka family, our Good Farm Neighbor Award winners number 209, being hosted today by the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. And we met Steve and Amy here. And now we have a young Swenka son sitting in front of me. What's your name?
Hey, my name is George Jacob Swenka. I go by Jake around here.
Well, George, you could have been part of the Double G Angus outfit with a G first name.
Yeah, sure could have, and I think still maybe it's in the future though too. Whenever I get done with the service, I know it's going to come back into the picture. So
that's exactly what I was going to ask you. First off, you're in the service. What are you doing?
Yes, sir. So currently I'm a lieutenant, United States Navy. I'm stationed over at Mayport, Jacksonville, Florida. I'm an MH-60 Romeo pilot, so it's the Navy's equivalent of flying the Black Hawk, and so specialize in weapons and tactics. I'm a weapons and tactics instructor out there as well. My first shore tour. And then before that, I was stationed over at HSM 37 out in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, and just kind of specializing on the expeditionary warfare side of the house. So did a lot of deployments on destroyers mainly, a little exposure with some cruisers in the aircraft carrier.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Appreciate everything you guys and gals are doing. So I can sit here and talk on the radio and not have to worry about a lot of other things in life. We certainly appreciate what you're doing out there on a daily basis. So how'd you get interested in military?
Yeah, so honestly, I kind of thought maybe growing up I'd probably be around here on the farm my entire life. And then, I had some family members, both grandfathers were both in the Army. And then my great-grandfather, so Dad's grandpa here, he was actually enlisted Navy for a while, both during World War II up through the Korean War. And then actually received his commission, his law degree at the University of Iowa. And so ended up being a Navy JAG, retired at the rank of captain, which is a Navy captain would be an 06. So got up there a little ways. And so kind of had maybe some of that footprint, the impression in the background a little bit of maybe trying to go, career Navy a little bit. And then, kind of vicariously through Dad over here, kind of helping see what kind of opportunities existed out there. And so as a result, we stumbled across the United States Naval Academy out in Annapolis, Maryland, looked into that, looked kind of like a really good deal. And even our farm here over in the flight path, of Cedar Rapids Airport, some of the local flyers in Greencastle. So every now and then looking up at the sky and see some of those guys flying, I thought that'd be, kind of cool. So kind of catering my interest towards aviation side of the house. Then heck, I figured, if I wanted to be a pilot, not to step on too many toes, but I figure if I wanted to be a pilot, I want to be the best pilot. Figure anyone can kind of land on a runway, but might be a little more difficult to land on a boat at sea. So I wanted to milk it for what it was worth. So naval aviation kind of got in my sights there a little bit. And then through my time at the Naval Academy, 4 years there in Annapolis, I picked up a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, had that background from the farm, doing some kind of basic routine maintenance. Thought it was a good fit for me. Was able to commission, pick up an aviation contract, started my flight school journey, and kind of never really looked back and kind of kept going forward on what the next best thing is and how each step along the way could I better myself, stand out amongst my peers, and be the best pilot I could be. And, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
when I had the opportunity to work with military on a couple of different missions on loan to military, and we did have a little bit of helicopter exposure, and we were going to land on a ship. And, of course, they kept us kind of in the dark and didn't know what we were doing. And they dropped a hook and line out of this helicopter down to the ship so the ship could pull us on.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, if you don't, you're never going to be able to hit this deck.
Yeah, recovery assist.
That is, it's fascinating, and the precision was remarkable. So, how long have you been in the service?
So, actually, on this last May 26th marked my 9th year into the service.
So you're going to come up on a anniversary here, pretty big one, next year, and then maybe you have to make a decision after that.
Yeah, that's the way it's looking right now. So the board's currently convening, but right now I'm on track to pick up and make up the next rank and the next position, which for me is probably going to be the department head level. But with that, like you said, comes that decision point. My minimum service requirement with the current orders I have will take me to about 2030. But I have to make a decision really in a year's time if I'm going to stick that out and determine if I'm going to take a 3, 5, or 7 year contract and really kind of determine if it's time to get out, maybe come back to farming or just keep it going. I'm on a good path right now, so my mindset right now is just keep opportunities open, keep all the doors open that I can, make a smart and educated decision when that time arises, and kind of just see what the future holds.
Well, I'll ask you something you probably heard from your dad and mom as well, is that we'd certainly like to get these young guys back on the farm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Are you interested?
Come back here and farming?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said earlier, at first I didn't know Navy was going to be my future. I kind of figured I'd just follow in Dad's footsteps here and continue on the generation, being the 5th farmer generation here at Double G. So absolutely. And talking to my dad and brother, whenever the time arises to where get out of the Navy, I can't think of anything I'd rather do better and put my time towards and kind of continuation the better of the farm here. And I just want to improve, be a good steward of the land, and do what I can to improve what we already have.
Talk to your dad next to you. He's sitting right next to you, and he's got a big old smile on his face. I bet you'd like to hear that.
Yeah, definitely.
Get these boys back on the farm.
The older you get, the more obvious it becomes that you need a little young blood on the farm. There's something to be said for experience and wisdom, but there's no substitute for some young blood.
I'm not so sure I'd keep him cooped up too many hot summer days in a hayloft. You may want to think your strategy out a little bit on that, but we certainly like having
when he comes home to help us, we call that Navy Appreciation Week.
Is that right? Well, we certainly appreciate Navy and our enlisted folks every day, and we are celebrating today with the Swenka family. With the Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award, number 209. This is our 209th edition. We are in Tiffin, not too far from Cedar Rapids, and we're going to be here. Agriculture Mike Naig is here. He's going to make a presentation coming up. But, Steve, I don't have time right now, but remind me to ask you about that 700 series John Deere you got sitting down there.
I promise I will.
Oh, man.
Another one celebrating the 209th edition of the Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award is our Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Naig.
It's always a celebration. You bet it is. And we are with Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Naig. Secretary, it is number 209. Yesterday we were talking about a pork producing family. Now we're talking about some purebred cattle producers here.
Yeah, and just high quality reminds us of what we do so well in the state of Iowa when it comes to genetics, and I'm just really proud. By the way, what an amazing interview you just did with the lieutenant. I mean, an impressive man.
What a nice young man.
Here we have, like you and I get a chance to see so many times, is this generational farm operation. And in this case, something that really harkens back to, the fact that you can talk about the great genetics that Double G is putting together, that's not something they just started here recently. This is something that's been a tradition. Yeah. We're here in a century farm, multi-generational farm family, and I loved talking with Steve just a little bit ago on my way in about the rotational grazing that they're doing, the care for the land, all that work. It doesn't happen in a short time. This is something that's been going on here for a long time, and that's something they can be really proud of.
Well, the other thing you can see is there's probably going to be 200 people here today.
Yeah.
Celebrating.
I was noticing that they got tents in a couple different places. Nice tractor display, by the way. You and I should probably go check those out.
Down there in that 700 series John Deere. Was it a 730, I think it is?
730, got a G. Yeah, but there's we parked down the road.
Well, but point is that we get to celebrate agriculture, and it's great to be able to celebrate agriculture here in the state of Iowa.
This is, and I usually make this point, not on the radio usually, but with the group, and that is that all the people who are here because of one farm family, and some of them because they do business with this family, or they are related to the family, or they are true neighbors to the family, but just one. And you're going to have a couple hundred people here for one farm family. And you know what? You can draw that same circle of people around almost every farm, every family farm in the state of Iowa. What a blessing to our communities. What an economic impact to our great state.
Talk about the cattle industry here in the state of Iowa.
Well, you know, we are poised we have so much opportunity to grow on top of what we already have here. And of course, look, nobody compares to what we can do here in terms of quality and corn-fed, corn-finished, good high-quality beef. And we know that we have that reputation, frankly, all over the world, but certainly in the United States. And we also think that there's an opportunity here to grow the cow herd. Smallest herd that we've had in the United States since the 1950s, right? So there's opportunity, and I happen to think that a lot of the opportunity to do that exists east of the Missouri. Because they've got so many drought challenges out west, we have a real opportunity here to expand and take some marginal land maybe that shouldn't be row cropped and get it into pasture, get it into hay ground. Let's look at extended rotations. And that's not taking land out of production, quote unquote. That's putting it into an even higher value production and growing beef. And so I think it's a wonderful thing, and obviously a way for a lot of young people to get into farming as well as through livestock.
And you were speaking about our lieutenant that we visited with. I asked him, I said, well, you have a decision to make, pretty soon. He's coming up on 10 years.
Yeah.
He said, it's going to continue and be military, make a career, or he said, I'd love to come back to farm.
Well, I thought, I was just watching over there when you said that. Steve kind of lit up a little bit because I think he was starting to do the math on, I got two boys that potentially and their families have been involved here, and, what an amazing thing. I don't know. I'm struck, I'm usually struck by this, or notice this in these events, but this one really strikes me. There's very much a generational tone here. Everything from you and I sitting in this beautiful historic barn on a century farm with those tractors out there, with these young families here talking about really, and by the way, not just talking about, hey, maybe we're going to do this, but like there's some passion and there's some energy behind that. I get to see that. You and I see that a lot, right? This isn't just passive. These are people who are actively excited about the opportunity to live this life, be in business, and do something amazing, and provide food for neighbors and folks around the world. That's a remarkable thing.
Secretary of Agriculture Mike Naig, and we're going to be picking up our conversation with him a little bit later on in this edition of the Fence Line. Also celebrating with us that day, representatives of the Iowa Cattlemen's Association.
We are spending some time on the Swenka farm. The Swenka family are recipients of the Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award. Double G Angus is the farm name. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up here. Bryan Whaley with the Iowa Cattlemen's Association sitting in with me. Bryan, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Bob. Thanks for having me on today.
I've seen smaller crowds at county fairs than we have here today.
Yeah, this is a really good turnout. And obviously, we were talking before we went on here. It just exemplifies just what that rural community really means and the support that's out there for our farmers and ranchers across the state.
When you talk about Iowa agriculture, and I get an opportunity to do it quite a lot, it's one of those things that you almost can't describe it, but you know it when you see it. And this is Iowa agriculture. It's family, it's community being here. It's a long-time farm operation. We're sitting on a century farm right now. And now the Double G Angus part of it, the purebred side of it, was started, I believe he said, 60 years ago. Talk a little bit about that, purebred operators versus commercial operators here in the state of Iowa.
Yeah, so a lot of these purebred operations have been around for a long time, and we have a significant portion of our membership run purebred, or sometimes they considered seed stock operations, and so they are more aligned with continuing the genetics within a certain breed. Here it's Angus, which is a very popular breed in the state of Iowa. So a lot of them will sell replacement heifers, maybe, and do some selling of some bulls as well. So really focused on genetics, really focused on those EPDs, and genomics is a part of that genetics, and what they can do right now with science and technology to always trying to move forward with the herd that they have, and utilizing the cattle within that herd on a regular basis with some of the new technology.
The elephant in the room in the cattle industry all across the country right now is the New World screwworm. A couple of headlines is, number one, it's not a food safety issue by any means. And number two, no, there are no cases in Iowa. But still, I'm sure the Iowa Cattlemen's Association is watching this.
Yeah, we've been actually engaged for a while now, obviously as part of USDA and some of the stuff and that they were putting out. We've been involved in conversations at the national level or been a part of those. We are ready for this. We knew once, about a week ago, once it had kind of climbed even further north towards our border, that it was just going to be a matter of time, unfortunately. And so we are ready. I think USDA has responded and they've deployed people to Texas. From an Iowa perspective, we did notify our members right away once I had confirmation from USDA. It was, they sent it right here to the USDA labs in Ames.
In Ames, yeah.
And to get confirmation. And so we notified our members, and we have a landing page for resources and information if they're curious. And even if the consumer wants to find out more about it, they can visit our website. It's right on the front page, and they can learn more about it. But, Bob, you hit the nail right on the head. I think it's important for our consumers to realize this is not a food safety issue, that the beef is safe to eat. This is a management issue for our producers now, and I think that's really important that people remember.
Bryan Whaley, Iowa Cattlemen's Association. Of course, we appreciate the support of the Cattlemen's Association, Iowa Beef Industry Council, all the commodity groups that support the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. The Coalition is the presenting sponsor of the Workin' Good Farm Neighbor Award, and that's what we're talking about today on the Fence Line. Let's visit more with our Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Naig.
Hey, we are welcoming our Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Naig, with us right now, and we are honoring the Steve and Amy Swenka family, first and foremost, here in the Tiffin area, cattle producers here.
Yeah.
And apparently either have a lot of relatives or a lot of friends, because we have a full house.
Full house.
Here today.
It was a great group of folks. And, again, just everybody's here because of one family. I just love it.
Yeah, no, that really says the whole thing. Hey, the elephant in the room, and we talked with Bryan Whaley a little bit about it here, is the latest on New World screwworm.
Yep.
And the cattle industry, it's on the radar screen. And a couple of quick headlines we've talked about is it's not a food safety issue.
Right.
And it's not in Iowa, as far as we know.
No, it's not. It's not in Iowa. And there's, of course, now USDA, and actually a significant presence on the ground. We've been briefed by USDA a couple times now since the announcement. So we know that they are aggressively working with the Texas Animal Health Commission to now look around that site. And they, just like we've talked about in the past, they draw a surveillance zone around that one site, and then they'll be looking for both the fly and looking for other animals that might be affected. So that story will continue to develop. We hope it's an isolated case, but we need to expect that it could be beyond that. Here's the other point we probably just need to get our heads around is, look, this has been marching its way north through Mexico. There had been an announcement earlier in the week that there was a goat detected with screwworm 25 miles south of the border. Point is, it's in that geography. So whether there's an incursion across periodically, that sort of thing, what we're trying to avoid, of course, and prevent is that there's some sort of widespread infestation or that animals move out of that zone up and jump into the United States. So that's why there's going to be permitted movements and all those types of things. So a very aggressive response on the part of Secretary Rollins and the USDA team, and we appreciate that. So we stand ready. This is one of those things where we'll just have to continue to watch it develop.
Bryan Whaley was just with us here, Secretary Naig. He is with the Iowa Cattlemen's Association. And the cattle industry has been wanting to expand their herds, which means we need to get more cows out there. We need to get more grazing ground in use. And I'm going to ask you, you're Secretary of Agriculture here in the state of Iowa, what's available? I mean, what kind of programs are available to get more cattle grazing.
Well, first of all, 100% agree with Bryan and the cattlemen, the beef producers. I hear about this all over the state, and it's like I think there's a tremendous opportunity. I think we talked about this already, right? That it's going to be from Iowa and places east, and south that actually have an opportunity to expand the cow herd in this country because of the drought challenges, very severe drought challenges that our friends to the west have experienced. But clearly there's an opportunity across the country, but I think specifically for us and row crop area. But what do we need to take advantage of that then? We've got to find these opportunities to take some of our maybe row crop land that's doesn't perform as well, it's marginal acres, and get that converted into pasture. Let's get some hay ground. Let's be using cover crops for forage. Let's talk about extended rotations. A lot of so we've actually got, and so one, that's a federal, I think we need to have a federal program that would allow us through the CRP program to either graze CRP acres or to actually, beyond that, I think we need to be looking at how do we convert some row crop acres into pasture ground. We have a pilot. It started down in Taylor and Page counties in west Iowa. We've moved it kind of up Guthrie up to Cherokee, kind of along that corridor there. And we have got tremendous popularity around this, converting, again, lower performing. We're not talking about taking high-performing row crop acres out. We're trying to target those marginal acres, the less performing, lower-performing acres, and get them seeded down. And, hey, no surprise, very popular. Cows are being added. Young generation, that next generation coming in. I can think of a story exactly of, Grandpa and I have been talking about this for a long time. This program made the difference. I was able to convince Grandpa, and we've got cows running on this. And these people are processing local, selling direct to consumer, those dollars staying local. So we're piloting something in Iowa that's incredibly popular, and we launched that from the Iowa Department of Ag Land Stewardship. The point is we want to make that pilot something that could possibly be expanded through a farm bill program. So we're proving the case, more than proving it. It's working. And I think there's an opportunity to do just that.
Speaking of farm bills, we have an Iowa version of a farm bill that has been signed by the governor. It got about a minute or so to share with you, but I remember when we first started talking about that, and now it's one of the final bills the governor has signed in her tenure.
We did. She signed it on Monday. It was great. Signed our budget, which had a water quality package, farm to faucet as well. But the Farm Act was first of its kind. We'd never done comprehensive farm legislation. Something I can introduce legislation. I can't vote on it or sign it into law, but I can introduce it. And I will tell you that we worked hard over from last session to this start of this over the last year through my visits, county visits. I'll be making a stop at an ag retailer here after I leave here, and I'm always asking the question: what makes life better? What do your customers need? What's an opportunity? What's a barrier? What do you want us to do? What fixes something that's a challenge for you? And those things ended up in that bill. So that's how it's supposed to work, I think. I say tongue in cheek. Listen, learn, do something. And that's what we're setting out to do now for hopefully next year's Farm Act.
I want to spend more time with you, and over the weeks we will continue. But you mentioned the Clean Water Initiative. It used to be, a few years ago, we'd come to an event like this, and the first thing we'd talk about was, are you doing clean water practices? And we have evolved the situation to where now we know they are.
Yes.
And it's almost, and I don't want to take it for granted because it is a big deal. Yep. But agriculture has embraced, and to a person they say, I wish we could do more, but they have embraced to a person clean water practices, and it's part of the vocabulary out in the countryside. Secretary of Agriculture Mike Naig, thanks for joining us.
We are celebrating the Swenka family Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award winner number 209. Our presenting sponsor, as always, is the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. I want to talk a little bit now with Bryan Waddingham, the Executive Director of the Coalition.
Bryan, we have quite a gathering here. We're doing like a count of chairs when we came in, and you said there must be 200 chairs here. We're going to have a lot of chairs empty. They're standing room only, buddy.
Yeah, I think we're probably around 220, 225 today, last count, and I don't know if people are still coming in, but I think that just goes to show how great the Swenka family is and how much they're appreciated in their community for this many friends and family and other community members. A lot of the Farm and Commodity Group staff are here just showing their support, so what a great family family.
Well, when you can get people out to celebrate agriculture, it's a big deal, and we love to be involved with that as well. So it's a big deal. You guys are involved in animal agriculture, as is the Swenka family. Again, that's one of the criteria for a Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award, is become involved in animal agriculture. They've been doing purebred Angus genetics, I believe, for about 60 years here. But you work with all species of livestock.
Yeah, whether it's cattle, hogs, dairy, poultry, turkeys, even shrimp. So anything that we can do to help promote livestock and poultry here in the state of Iowa, we're 100% behind that.
Who should be calling you guys?
Whether you're a new and beginning farmer or a farmer that is well established and maybe looking to grow, you want to bring a son or daughter back to the farm, want some advice on how to do that, that is something that we can help you with. All of our services are free and confidential, and we're just a phone call away.
See representatives from the Iowa Cattlemen's Association here. Talk to them on the radio. See representatives of the Iowa Farm Bureau as well here today. Farm Bureau member, longtime community involvement the Swenka family has with Farm Bureau. And see a lot of folks in the community. These folks are deeply involved in their community. So how can we find out more about you guys?
If you just want some general information, go to our website, supportfarmers.com, or if you have a specific question in mind, give us a call anytime, 800-932-2436.
I want to talk to Alex Frazier right next to me here. Alex brings a tree to present to our Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award winners. Alex, we just had the mayor of Cedar Rapids on.
Yeah.
Tiffany O'Donnell. And Tiffany and I are good buddies we worked together in television back in the early 90s, back when we were both children. And she mentioned that the city of Cedar Rapids is looking to, replant something like 1 million trees that were damaged. And she says, and don't forget, we want to plant native Iowa trees.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine bur oaks are going to be all over Cedar Rapids.
Those are on the list, yeah. Swamp white oak, chinkapin oak, the list goes on. But yeah, oaks are a great tree. And really, if we've learned anything about how to replant, it's that we want diversity. So when you're going to replant, don't put all one thing in. Get one of everything.
Well, I think what they're seeing here, too, and you can echo this, but the derecho moved through quite a while back. Mm-hmm. And you would think the effects would be gone by now. But right. A lot of the trees that were damaged are now dying.
Yeah. It took a couple of years to figure that out. Yeah. The tree decline takes, like you said, 2-3 years at least. But then also to replant, you can't just replant 1 million trees in 1 year. We're talking literally millions of trees. It was a big deal right there in town.
Alex, how can we find out more about what you guys do?
Yeah, again, general information. Our website is a good start, FrazierNursery.com.
And it's good to catch up with Alex Frazier, Frazier Nursery. They present a nice tree to our Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award-winning family. Hey, a big thank you to the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers, again, the livestock folks here in the state of Iowa. If you want to find out more about the programs, or if you have questions about livestock operations here in the state, even looking towards maybe some on-farm inspections, they can help you prepare for those as well. SupportFarmers.com is where you find them. Again, at SupportFarmers.com. You've been listening to The Fence Line, a presentation of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. My name is Bob Quinn, and I'll be talking to you again next time along The Fence Line.